Happy Tuesday and happy Thanksgiving week. It is Tuesday, November 25th in the year 2025, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom. You ever been a part of something that you know would only happen once? Something that you know could not be replicated? Generally, it's called history. A few years ago, an effort was made to honor and remember the early athletic trailblazers at Deep South universities. Some had statues erected, some had books written about them, some were sought out for newspapers and television interviews. But soon, that candle burned out. Luckily, some of those trailblazers took it upon themselves to make sure that their heroes are also remembered. Some of those memories have been kept alive by the James Owens Foundation, who annually hosts a breakfast for the 1970s trailblazers. One of those 1970s heroes was my good friend and a hell of a football player in James Owens, who the foundation is named for. Many of you know the story of James, the first African-American football player at Auburn University. James was described by many of the early black pioneers as, quote, Daddy. He was that for many of us who followed. Daddy's temperament set him apart from many. Even tempered, he balanced the contribution he was making for those who would come behind him with just him getting on the field. Whereas he arrived the biggest of stars, he had been relegated to being a blocking fullback on what would be one of Auburn's best teams ever. Owens took it in stride. His quote for not getting the ball, he said, "We were brought here to break the fans in. In the beginning, they were not ready for us to be stars." Our G-list guest today is, well, it's a monthly roundtable with myself, Mychal, and Barbara, and our opinions on many a different subject. We also want your opinion, so you can join in the discussion in the chat. One of the interesting things about the roundtable is Barbara, Mychal, and myself will research a particular subject or idea and pitch it to the other two who have not had the benefit of that research, but has to answer with an honest opinion. Makes for an interesting discussion. So we look forward to that conversation. Our show today, of course, is brought to you by the consulting firm of Best Girl Inc. So let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl continues to customize the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to the round table and have a conversation this morning with Barbara Wallace Edwards and Mychal Walker. Good morning, Barbara Wallace Edwards and Mychal Walker.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Well, how are you all doing?
How about you all?
Doing well. Doing well. Yes. And this is a slow week because it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's always good to. I remember when we worked in the corporate structure, boy, that was always a good week because you could pull the coat trick and go and be gone for a little while. and everybody thought you were still in the building because your coat was still on the chair. I learned that the coat trick from Smitty. Smitty taught me the coat trick. Smitty said, you got to leave your coat on the chair and you gone, man. They come by and they say, well, he around here somewhere because I see his coat.
and they accuse Smitty of being incompetent.
One of the smartest men they had on the staff, wasn't it?
He was. And his problem was he would tell them. He would let him know he was the smartest man in the
field. Excuse me. That's funny.
That is true. That is true. Yes. He had a lot of sayings and what have you. But Barbara, you mentioned, and with it being, it's interesting though. Thanksgiving week, the students are not there at Auburn.
Mhm.
I wonder what kind of crowd we're going to have coming up for the Iron Bowl, and
I
how
Oh,
think
that's
we're
they'll
gonna
going to
have
look.
show up.
I think we're gonna have a big crowd, Michael. I was at the game this past Saturday against Mercer, and even it wasn't a complete, full stadium, but it was probably 95% full. Even with that being, the students are already on break. It was, leading up to Thanksgiving. The weather was horrible Saturday morning with rain and fog, and still the stadium was pretty full. So I'm willing to bet it's going to be a packed house for
Oh,
the Alabama game.
it'll be packed, especially if they
Yeah.
think we have a chance to win.
And
Uh,
I
Yeah,
think we might have a chance to win with our new quarterback situation, the one that's been riding the bench all two have been riding the
yeah.
bench all year.
they tell me the deuce was loose
The
on Saturday.
Deuce was on fire Saturday in Jordan Hare Stadium. I have never it hadn't been that exciting since Cam Newton played. I mean, it was an exciting game. I mean, from the first
Good.
handoff, this man, ran a touchdown. It was just unbelievable, and the crowd was
You
fired up.
think, wonder why? Well, I was going to say, I wonder why Coach Freeze never played the kid, but I guess maybe NIL had something to do with it. Who knows?
I don't know. I was listening to the War Report. We've had Isaac Jones on the show before, and the War Report, and Mike Giddings, who's on the War Report, said that he's interviewing Hugh Freeze, and I think it's going to be after Thanksgiving. I can't wait for that interview to come out because I would love to know his rationale for why he did not play Deuce Knight and
Well,
Daniels,
when
Ashton Daniels.
you go and I don't even want to use the word recruit. I don't know what word you use now with the NIL, but when you go and get somebody
Right,
that you got to pay a lot of money to get them, I'm talking about 7 figures.
right.
You expect this kid to play, and you expect him to be good.
You do.
So I don't
But
know, but
after a while,
I
you
wouldn't
got
have
to.
lost my job playing
Right.
Jackson Arnold. I tell you
That's
that.
that's where I was going with this. It's not worth losing your job over.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and I
I
don't
mean,
have anything against Jackson Arnold. He just didn't do a real good job.
right, right. And I mean, the rest of the team doesn't even they don't respond to him the same way they do with Ashton Daniels and Deuce Knight.
No,
He came
I
in for a
agree.
couple of
I agree.
plays on
Well,
Saturday.
I'm gonna. We got some internet issues. It looks like, but we'll hang in there.
Right.
I want to go back to that. When you're on a team and everybody's not pulling their weight,
Yeah.
then you're not real happy about that.
Right.
And I imagine there were some people who weren't happy about the quarterback situation, especially
Probably.
if he was making 7 figures.
Exactly.
Well, not only not pulling your weight in the game, but Tom, players know because they have practice every day.
That's right.
Mhm.
And so that's where they know the real deal, regardless
Right.
That's right.
out on the field on staff.
Exactly. But
Okay.
That's
what's
right.
interesting? Saying all year we didn't have an offensive line, but it's remarkable that now that Ashton Daniels and Deuce Knight is the quarterback, the offensive line hadn't been an issue, and those guys are able to get rid of the ball. They're able to run plays, and we
Well,
hadn't had
Jackson Arnold couldn't make anybody miss. You got to be able to make one man miss.
got to be
You
elusive.
can't
That's
block
right.
everybody, but you
Right.
got to make one man. That was always the unwritten rule. You got to
Mhm.
make one man miss, and he couldn't make anybody miss.
Yeah.
You know, um,
He wasn't mobile enough to do that. I agree.
Well, in addition to that, when you're dropping back to pass the ball, you've got anywhere from 2 to 3 seconds to get rid of the ball or make a decision and move.
He held it too
Because the
long.
offensive line, as Tom was talking about, they can't hold those blocks forever.
Right.
Because after a while they get into holding. I mean,
Hmm.
literally holding, and then you
Right.
get
it
yourself
does.
behind the chains. So
Right.
that's another issue. So it's a lot of things, moving around in there. But what do you guys think about the coaching search? They're saying that we're gonna have a new coach named right after the Iron Bowl. All signs seems to be pointing towards the guy from Tulane. Um,
Summerall,
yes, and
What's his name?
John
John
Summerall.
Summerall. Yeah. Supposedly a lot of the high school coaches in Alabama are rooting for him to get the job. He played football in Huntsville. He's from Huntsville, Alabama. He played there.
And his
Uh,
I understand his wife is an Auburn grad, and yeah, he coached at Troy for a while,
he
right?
coached at Troy. He was the one that turned Troy around down there and made them,
Yeah.
respectable and what have you. So, um, and your guys on War Report said this was their scoop. I just happened to pick it up.
Uh-huh.
Is that whoever is going to be the head coach has agreed to keep DJ Durkin as the DC,
Okay.
and that it's rumored that it's some offensive coordinator in the ACC that's agreed to come on board as well and they bring in John Summerall. We'll see if that works out. Don't know, but I don't think Derek Nix is doing a bad job right now.
Derek Nix is doing a great job right now.
I thought they were really fond of Derek Nix, and
I
I
did
don't know
too.
anything about this guy, but somebody asked me the other day who I thought, and I don't know much. I don't know anything about it. Very, very little about it. But I would, I might take the guy that's already there.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not doing a bad job.
Offense is booming right now.
Are enthusiastic. There's an enthusiasm that wasn't there.
Right.
And so I maybe would keep the interim guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
Durkin
and
you guys keep Nix.
Sounds interesting as well. So
right. Yeah,
I was really hoping they would give DJ Durkin a chance at being the head coach, even if it was for a short-term contract, 2 years, see how he does or something. But
well, we know he was smart enough to play. What's his name? Ashton Daniels. We know that,
right? Yes, we know that the players love and respect him, and offensively and defensively. So,
one other thing, Tom, he was also smart enough to stop having 3 play callers and say Derek Nix is going to be the number 1 play caller.
Yeah,
it opened up a whole new world. I mean, I was excited. I didn't go to a game at all last year. This is my first game this year, last week. So, I mean, I think it just opens up a whole new perspective for the fans and the alums to think, okay, we have a chance at winning now. We didn't have much of a hope before. So, I think that the guys that are there are doing a great job.
I think you'd be tired of paying. We paid Gus $21 million to leave. We paid Brian Hosson $15 million, paying Freeze $16 million.
Yeah.
Hey, if I got a guy, if it's my business and I got a guy that's already there that I'm paying reasonably,
right.
If he can win a game or two, I'm gonna keep him.
Absolutely, keep him. Exactly. That would be my thing.
16 and 15 is 31 plus 21. Man, that's $52 million you paid out to get guys to leave.
Yes,
not to come play for you.
Right.
You getting them to leave.
Yeah. They can be using that money they save in NIL money. So, they should be thinking about that.
They could use it to recruit some black students. That's what they could use it for.
True. That is so true.
So I wanted to talk, and so I had 3 names here for the day. Deuce Knight, which you guys have talked about, Shedeur Sanders, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I figured that's enough for a whole show. So, what do you think about Shedeur Sanders?
I am so proud of Shedeur Sanders and what he did. Finally get a chance to practice with the number ones and shows what he can do when he gets that chance. And proud of that young man. He played a hell of a game.
I'm happy for him. He had an opportunity to show. He conducted himself with poise and what have you on the field. And you can only think that he will get better with more reps. Mm-hmm. And maybe this will give him a fair opportunity because, it's interesting how people that, know a little bit about sports and what have you, a coach can make you look bad regardless of how good you are. Tom, you know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so, and that's kind of like how I see this is happening. And when I say that, I mean by putting it in certain situations, because if you are listed as the third string quarterback, you're going to get third string reps with third string people, in other words.
Right.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, if you thrust into the starting lineup, you haven't had any reps with them. You don't have any rhythm, no chemistry there, whatever.
No favorite plays, nothing.
Okay, exactly. And the playbook is different usually.
Yeah.
Okay.
And generally, if you're with the third team, you're playing against the first team in practice.
Right.
And you're getting whacked.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, with third string protection.
Yes.
In front of you. Okay. So
yes.
it's really kind of uneven. So you'll look bad if you got third string offensive line protecting you against the first string defensive line in practice. Yeah, you're gonna look bad.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What's that that defensive end they got? What's his name? The one that's all world for Cleveland.
Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett is in Shadour's corner, that's for sure. You know?
Yes.
He was excited, boy, when Shadour scored that long pass. He was excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if I had a constructive comment to make with Shadour, and I don't know if this is ever going to happen because it's not Deion's style, but I would kind of talk to Shadour about how he deals with the media, because everything he says is going to be amplified.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be magnified.
That's true.
And it's certainly going to take a negative bent. So going into that, and what I'm talking about, they interviewed him after the game, and they asked him something about his performance, and he said, a lot of people want to see me fail, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That you had a great game.
Right.
You don't even really have to address it, because by addressing it, they're living in your head, in other words. And you could win the media over on your side if you kind of turn that around, and he could have just simply said, yeah, it was preparation, my teammates, all that type of stuff, and deflect. And so I hate that for him, because he hasn't been taught that. And Thom, you and I talked about athletes knowing how to interact with the media, and not necessarily athletes, anybody that doesn't have experience.
Yeah, and you gotta know that they may take something you say, may take
Twist
it out
it around,
of context, may even put it in a different context.
Right.
And you look totally different from what you meant to say.
Right.
And I just don't think it would hurt him to just praise his teammates, praise his coach, and keep it on that track. And I mean, I don't think he's done anything wrong. I don't think Deion's done anything wrong.
He hasn't.
It's just who they are. And, hey, Deion backed up his talk when he was playing. So you can't really, I don't know many guys that could play. Did he play a baseball game and a football game in the same day?
Same day.
Yeah, in Atlanta. Caught a helicopter. Caught a helicopter from the Georgia Dome over to the stadium. And I think he hit a home run or something, got on base. He did something.
Right.
So you got to give the man some credit, you know. You got to give him some credit. So I'm glad for the young man. I agree with you. I think if he can just keep that tone that says, hey, I'm just glad to be here, man. It's a wonderful opportunity. And not worry about what's happening with Dylan Gabriel and all that. You know why they put Dylan Gabriel in front of him. I mean, so you don't even have to say it.
Right.
You know? You can just keep rolling. So.
It's kind of funny you saying it. It just made me think about, and we were talking about Hugh Freeze and Auburn before, I remember that after Ashton Daniels came in and they won the Arkansas game after Jackson Arnold almost gave it away, the next week, Hugh Freeze said, we're going to have open competition for the quarterback position.
That's why he's
So,
gone.
so in other words, what you've been
We
telling me,
haven't
it
had
hadn't
that.
been open all along.
It
It
had
never
not
was
been.
open. Okay.
We
And I
knew
see,
that, but I'm glad
and I
he
see
he
that.
had announced it.
Woo.
I see that with Shedeur Sanders in his place in Cleveland. It
Right.
hasn't been an open and fair competition all the way long. We
Yeah.
all know that. Okay.
Yes.
As a matter of
No.
fact, Clarence Carter and Stevie Wonder can see that. They told me that. Okay. They saw it.
Said both
Okay.
of them can see it, huh?
Absolutely. And Helen Keller heard about it. So, you know,
Yeah.
so that's a given. So let's just
Yeah.
move in the other direction, because the more you show, the more that you shine, the worse they look.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you don't have
Yeah.
to say a word.
And I mean, it isn't like Cleveland is like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they're Cleveland.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't remember the last time they had a winning season or anything. So,
It was
and
when they were the real Browns before
yeah,
they moved.
yeah, yeah. When they had Jim Brown and those type guys, it was a different,
Yes. Yes.
it was a different story.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Mychal, let's get your take since you live over there and you're involved somewhat in politics.
Tell us about MTG.
MTG, you know, it all started with Trump not supporting her for a run for governor or senator, you know, and that's when she said the Republican Party is a good old boys club and all of this type of stuff. And so one thing, so she's a scorned woman, basically, is what it is. Hell has no fury like a woman scorned. So
Right.
that's how I look at that situation. But I do find it comical, though, and it's interesting that there's a local guy here that does updates and stuff. And he said that he ran into MTG about 4 weeks ago, and that she was the MTG he had known before she went to Congress and became this character.
Mm.
He
Okay.
said that she was normal, so to speak, if you can use the word normal and MTG together. And he
Mhm.
said that he saw something changing in her. And so now she's saying stuff that we all said all along and wonder why was she so behind him. But you know, that's what politics will do, you know.
Yeah.
And people get involved in politics and they find themselves caught in a situation where they have to maybe go against their principles and stuff
Mhm.
just to be in.
Part of the group.
Yeah. And because part of the situation is when you go to Congress and you're a representative or senator and what have you, a big part of your job is to deliver to the district and the people that you serve.
Right. Right.
And if you go up there and you're ineffective in doing that because you've pissed off so many people, then you don't get the support you need to deliver at home. So you're always caught in this situation. How far do I go and what have you? But one thing for sure, she certainly has her base here. And everybody's wondering what she's going to do. And she said, I'm not running for president. I'm not going to come out and do that. She's even saying that she has received death threats for going against Trump.
Mm.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Now, wasn't
Yeah.
she interested in running for governor or senator or something? Also, Mychal,
Governor.
is she
She
still
wanted
planning
to
to
run
do
for-
that?
I don't
Has she
think
made any
so, but
announcement?
she may do that now because it would throw some
Go ahead.
kinks in the sand. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't get the impression she's going to do that. I think
Okay.
she'll have a time holding on to her seat, but what I read the last few days is that she doesn't have Trump's support, but she's got the majority support in her district. They still like her, and a lot of the MAGA people are saying, "Well, no, we're going to hang in there with her," you know,
Mm.
because for a lot of reasons. But one, she's a woman, and
Right.
most of the MAGA people who are quote out front are men.
Right.
Yes.
So I didn't know her before she became what is it,
MTG.
MTG. So
Yeah. All we know is that MTG.
maybe we'll get to see her
and she
in a different
she
light.
has done a couple interviews here, and she's totally different than what she was before. And she said that she did not want to get into something where she's being attacked and it's interfering with her ability to deliver and do her job. And that, quite honestly, I think, and this makes sense, the issue with the Epstein files and stuff,
Right.
and how those young ladies were treated, that goes against the grain of everybody,
I agree.
Right.
and for her
That's
to
a good
be
point.
there in Congress, and this is an issue, and you having to fight the established Trump system
Mm-hmm.
to get this out, I can see how that can cause some issues as well. And it's so funny, speaking of Trump, the James game put it on him. You guys don't know who the James game is?
Oh yeah.
Letitia James and
And
James
James
Comey.
Comey. Yes.
The James
The
game.
James gang. I like
Is that
that.
what you're calling them? Okay.
Yes. I like
No, I
that.
called him that, but I just,
Yeah.
hey, they won their case,
Yes.
and it's done. And
Well, they
Comey's,
say they're going to refile it.
well, the thing about with Comey's case
Comey, yeah.
is that
His statute
the
of
statute of
limitations ran
limitation of
out.
5 years, it will have expired, so they
Right.
can't go back.
Okay.
Now they can try and go back and try Letitia James, but you already lost one time, and the facts are still going to be the facts. So
That's right.
what else are you going to come up with?
I hear you. Well,
And
facts
it's-
never stood in the way of them doing what they wanted to do.
I was
Oh,
going
that's
to say
true.
facts
That's
don't
true.
matter to the MAGA crowd. So
Well, that's true. Well, he hasn't had a really good week. He lost $1 billion in his net worth this week from his crypto company. When he came out with the crypto and all this stuff, and his sons and stuff, they increased their net worth by $1 billion, but now it's dropped because they've experienced a crypto crash.
Wow.
So it's interesting how
Get no
conflict
sympathy
of
from me.
interest is okay
yeah.
here.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I say it's interesting how conflict of interest really doesn't apply to this president or anybody else, but I find it comical.
Or being qualified to do a job doesn't bother this president. Since he was so big on, quote, DEI bringing in people who weren't qualified. Shit, he got a whole staff that ain't qualified.
Exactly. Didn't earn it.
So
That's
what do you
what
call
DEI
that
stands
program?
for. DEI
What do you call
didn't
that
earn it.
program?
DEI didn't earn it.
That didn't
That's
earn
what
it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe so. You got a point there, but I find it kind of interesting where I saw, I think, a young lady down in Florida that was in Congress, and she has been indicted for, let me see, how might I put it, misuse of funds from COVID. She and her brother ran a COVID company that provided services during COVID, and they were overpaid by some, I think, $5 to $10 million. And she used that and directed it for her campaign. And they're going after her. She may face up to 10 or 20 years in prison, and she's a congressperson,
Oh, wow.
But and I said, you guys got to understand, you can't have conflicts of interest. Only Trump can. That's reserved just for Trump.
Just for him.
Just for him.
Yeah, Mike, I got to go back and ask a question about MTG. Now she's resigned. It's effective January
5th, and that
Okay.
way she will be vested. You have to be in Congress for 5 years to be vested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and get your pension.
So it's just.
but-
I heard it's just 2 days after her investment goes
Yeah.
into play. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Her pension goes into play, and all the trades and stuff that she got to do and stuff, she can keep that money. In other words,
That's insider trading information. Again, that's wrong. What is the deal with that? What is
wrong?
You're right. You're absolutely correct. So I guess they'll have a special election to fill her seat.
Yeah, well, the governor will have to put forth a special election to fulfill her unexpired term,
Right.
and then he or she will have to run again for a full term.
Okay.
You're not interested in sitting in that seat, are you, Micah?
Come
No.
on, Michael. We need you. We need
Nope.
you.
Nope.
I don't know
Won't
if you
happen.
guys saw it last night. I just happened to flip over ABC, and they had a special on the murder of John Kennedy, by supposedly by Lee Harvey Oswald. And they went through all of it, the whole thing, so on and so forth, and they talked about the shots and where the shots came from, and it kills me how they just discount the fact that these people heard the shots and they all pointed to the grassy knoll and said that's where the shots came from. And they said, no, it didn't come from there. It didn't come from there. No, you can't believe everything you see or hear, and it's just interesting. I'll never forget that. That was, I was sixth grade. And man, that was the fact that they shot and killed the president of the United States was just amazing that they could get away with that. And then Oswald always said he didn't shoot anybody.
Right.
But then the next day, Jack Ruby walks into the police station. They're taking the man out. He just walks up with all the police there and just kills Oswald.
Yeah.
It was incredible, man. You had to accept a lot. You had to accept a lot to believe that theory.
Right.
And Tom, that happened in November, didn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
22nd.
What day was the 22nd? Okay. That's what, okay.
I think it was the 20th. And I don't know why. I don't even know why this was on. I just happened to be flipping through the channels and saw it. But it was an interesting story. And, the fact that they just killed this man. And he was the president of the United States. And I was in the sixth grade. I'll never forget it. The nun, I went to Catholic school, and the nun was the principal. And she came on the internet and the intercom, and told us to pray because the president had been shot. And so, we're all Catholic kids, and so we're praying and so on and so forth. And then she came back on a few minutes later and said the president was dead. And everybody started crying, and people came and got their kids out of school. It was just an incredible day. I'll never, ever, ever, ever forget it. And I still don't believe it. And so the whole thing was about the theory of, did Oswald act alone?
Right.
And then Jack Ruby walked into the police station and shot him and killed him. So we never know what Oswald always said. I didn't shoot anybody.
Right.
Well,
So
a couple of comments on that. I had an opportunity to go to the depository and look out that window and see, and they still have it marked where the motorcade was going. And there's the grassy knoll, and he was supposed to be up in the depository window and shot down. That's where it was. So he was upstairs and shot down this way. So for the people to say the grassy knoll is right below where the depository is. So that all makes sense. It's an interesting thing, though, that I saw when I was there, which was that they had tried to get Kennedy to have the bubble over the car.
Right.
And he refused to do so because he wanted to be amongst the people and stuff. And they had told him they were concerned about him getting out of the car and doing that. And they said, well, you're going to stay in the car. You're not going to get out of the car and what have you. And there was I can't remember what it was, but it was some political issue that a lot of people in Texas wanted the president to rule a certain way, and he didn't rule that way. And they wanted him not to even come to Texas.
That's right. It was a bold statement for him to go to Texas. He wanted to go to show them that he was amongst them. He was one of them.
Right.
Yeah. So you think about a couple decisions, and history could have been changed. One
totally different.
Yeah. One, he didn't go to Texas at all, and particularly not Dallas. Or two, he put the bubble on. Just little stuff like that would have altered
made a big difference. Yes.
Change the history. Change where we are sitting now, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
One
Tom, you
other.
want to do got a minute?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I got one more thing. We got time. We got time. Uh, so Doug Jones is going to run against Tuberville.
I
Yes,
was
I
going
was
to
going to
bring that
bring
up.
that
Yeah.
up. Yes,
Yeah.
From
Doug
Alabama.
has officially entered the race, and we're so excited.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll see. Hopefully
Yeah,
he'll run harder than he ran last time.
I certainly
You
hope
got
so.
to kick Tuberville in the ass. I mean,
Yes.
you gotta you gotta get down in the mud with him because he's gonna be in the mud.
Yeah.
You know,
His
and
announcement on yesterday stated that he's into the race and he's going to officially run hard for this, to win this election. He
man
said,
didn't know what was it, Michael? What he doesn't know, he doesn't know.
He,
Tuberville.
oh
the three,
Lord. The
yeah,
three branches of the
the
government.
government. Yeah, he didn't know the three
The
branches
three
of
branches
government.
of the government. It didn't know the Voting Rights Act bill.
I'd be hitting on that hard.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah. This man didn't even know who John Lewis was,
Right.
basically. He didn't know the Voting Rights Act bill, which was John Lewis' signature legislation. That's what he got his head bashed in on the at McNettis Bridge. All of this stuff. He knows none of this, but he
Yeah.
wants to be your senator.
And now you're governor, our governor.
And I'm going to fight for the president.
That's his whole spiel right there. I'm behind the
Oh,
president.
he's a Trump man. That's what he's got to sell.
Well,
Anyway.
it may not be a bad strategy because here's a couple things that are at play. During midterms, the party that occupies the White House and the majority usually end up losing the midterm election.
Right.
Okay. That's one. And the history has shown that time and time again.
Right.
Secondly, because of this shutdown, the Republicans got scarred up as well with this. And a lot of reasons, that's why you see a lot of changing on the Obamacare, because they kept saying, we're going to repeal and replace. And they've been saying that for 7 years or longer, and they never have repealed and replaced anything. The problem is they really cannot do it because once you give stuff to people, and think about this, parents who have children that were at college, come out, wasn't able to get a job or what have you, they can stay on their parents' insurance until the age of 26. That's a good benefit given the complexity of healthcare and where we are. Okay.
Very much
Then
so.
You got that. You have pre-existing conditions. All those things that are included in that ACA, and now they're talking about trying to take that away.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Well,
you have
now
the subsidies.
I don't think they know what they want to do. I just think they just want to be against Obama. They think that's the selling point. They don't really want to change it because they don't know what to change it to. And they don't
they have nothing better.
But we're against Obama. So that's enough for a lot of the people to just say, okay, we're with you there.
Unfortunately, to their own detriment, they're against it, and that's crazy. Because
now they're starting to capitulate a little bit now and saying that just this morning that they're going to extend the tax credit and stuff, the subsidies for another 2 years, and then they want to look at maybe changing the eligibility rules, increase the income level, all this other stuff. So they're just messing around with it. And part of it, they said, is they're looking at maybe giving 50% or a portion of the tax credit in savings to go into a savings account and give it directly to the individuals. Trump said a few weeks ago that maybe he'll just give the money directly to the individuals to go out and buy their health care. So it's a lot of stuff that's going along. So they're really just trying to tweak different things and stuff and then say they have a new health plan.
Okay. All righty. Well, we'll come back. Let's go to Sean. I think she's got a minute for us. Sean, are you out there somewhere on this Thanksgiving week? We're looking forward to hearing from you. I know she was having some internet issues, so hopefully she's able to get it corrected. Okay. Well, Sean, are you out there? Okay, well, we will, whenever you're ready, you let us know and we'll come back to you. she just put something in the chat. I was trying to see. She said it won't play, so let's just move on.
Okay, keep rolling.
If you get it to play, Sean, let me know, and we'll come back to it. But we'll move on for now. Hollywood has the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Thom, we have the G list, and our G list guest today is just a roundtable between Mychal, Barbara, and I. And there's one other political thing. We did talk about Doug Jones, didn't we? I hope Doug can win, but I don't know.
I hope so. It's still Alabama, though, but let's pray that people will come to their senses.
We'd rather have a football coach than a
dumb football coach. A dumb football coach. A dumb one at that.
Let's talk about the Zelensky and the agreement to end the war. Thom, you mentioned earlier about how they were taking information from Russia and crafting this.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the thing that I found most interesting in this is that Trump tried to get Zelensky, in order to end the war with Russia, agree, and hear me when I say this, agree to let Russia have territory that they have not captured yet.
Damn.
Okay, that's one of them. The other one is for them to reduce the size of their military. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the third one is they cannot ever join NATO.
What?
Damn.
Yeah, that's what they went to him with. Now
that was their proposal.
Yeah, that's part of it. In order to end the war, what kind of deal is that? First of all, but I have heard that part of this is another situation from the standpoint that it may be a situation where the U.S. is willing to concede certain positions in Europe and Asia to get Russia and China out of the Western Hemisphere. And so they can control all of this. Let China control Asia and Russia control the other. Now that's a conspiracy thing, but they're saying they would do that to kind of just balance stuff because the leadership of the U.S. is not where it once was, and that there's a decline in us being the world power, and that would be a way to do it. So I don't know, just gonna kind of watch and see. This is something that I heard the other day. They're not gonna tell you this, and that also that Mario, what did Trump call him, Little Mario and stuff? He's not in favor of this. He's not in favor of doing this. He's in favor of the U.S. staying at the position with the top currency and all of that stuff, because there are a lot of other benefits that go along with that. We have lower interest rates than anybody else because the U.S. dollar is the national currency, in other words, and stuff. So it's a lot of other things that help us from that standpoint of being that way. So there's a lot of things at play, because it doesn't make sense to offer this to Zelensky. Why have these people been fighting 3 years trying to defend themselves in the end to do this? And think about this, the U.S. has been giving them a bunch of equipment and all this stuff to fight the war.
Right.
None of that stuff makes sense. In other words, that if you're going to spend all this money to fight the war and give them this money, and then going to turn around and say, we want you to concede all this stuff. Why did you do that?
Okay. Barbara, you got something?
I do, Thom. I don't know if you guys heard about this story outside of Chicago, where this woman went to the hospital. She was in labor. She'd had 3 children already. This was her 4th pregnancy. Went and basically in active labor there in the ER, and the nurse turned her away. They basically told her that she was not in labor and that they send her back home. She was like, oh, I am. This is my 4th child. I know I'm in labor. And so the husband who brought her to the hospital said that he was very upset. His wife was not being treated properly. She ended up, they basically had the security guard to escort them out of the hospital, made them leave. And he was headed to another hospital 6 minutes away from that hospital, she's like, the baby's coming. So he pulls over on the side of the road and helps her. The baby is delivered in the car. And so, of course, now they're suing the hospital. The doctor and the nurse who turned her away have been fired from that hospital. I think it's St. Franciscan Hospital. But it's sad. It's like they don't listen to the patient, or didn't listen to the patient in this case. And she had a baby. Luckily, the baby's healthy.
That's lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Lucky.
That was going to be my question. So the baby and the mom are healthy then.
The baby and the mom are fine. They actually interviewed the parents on TV. They showed the picture of the baby, beautiful little girl. But that is just unbelievable that these people were trained, hopefully, to help individuals who are in pain and suffering, and they turned her away.
Well, and what was their side of things? I'm sure they had a different slant on it.
I haven't heard their side. I don't know. Okay. Other than they just didn't believe that she was in active labor.
Wow.
Well, okay. I think that I will just say from some stuff that I've been studying, that's the violation of the Emergency Medical Treatment in Labor Act, what they call EMTALA, because when somebody comes to the emergency room like that, you're supposed to screen, diagnose, and stabilize. Mm-hmm. And then if you have to transfer, you do that, but it's in that order. But the fact that they should have known would be the reason why they would lose that lawsuit.
Absolutely.
And it's a violation of EMTALA because, for her to come to the emergency room, they had to know that she was pregnant, in other words.
Right.
And stuff.
Yes, they knew.
And so, and they're going to say that they didn't think she was in labor. That's going to be a problem there.
They sent her back home sending her back home and told her to go home and come back later when she was actively. And they showed videos of her in the ER. Screaming in pain. Saying she's like, I know I'm having this baby. This is my fourth child. I know. I this is my body. I understand. And they just dismissed her. And it is awful.
What was her ethnicity?
She was Black.
Wow.
And of course, the nurse was not. And neither was the doctor.
That's tough.
It is tough.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
A lot.
Yeah.
That's the cash register right there. Ka-ching.
Yeah, the CEO of the hospital come forward and say, he apologized to the parents and, that they had to go through that. They've terminated the nurse and the doctor. But that still doesn't fix the situation. That mother and that child could have lost their lives.
DOJ will probably come in there because that's not only that's a violation because every hospital that contracts with the federal government, meaning they take Medicare patients and people like that,
right? Then
that's a violation, also a federal statute of not providing emergency care.
They had insurance. It wasn't even that they turned them away for insurance. That's the crazy part. It was just they didn't believe her. Like, how do you not believe someone that's someone pregnant? They tell you they're in labor. She's screaming in pain. How could you? That's inhumane. She just and then forces them to leave. She's first she was like the husband was saying, "Yeah, I'm not. We're not leaving. You must treat her because she knows." And so they got the security guard to escort them out of the hospital.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
That is definitely tough.
Well, I've got a little note from our alma mater. I have a couple of scholarships there that we've put money up for. And we've been told that because our scholarships includes words like diversity and so on and so forth, that we have to change the wording in our scholarship.
Yes.
They'll change it, or there were three options. One, they could change it. I forget what the second one was. And the third one was they would call us and opt for a discussion. Mm-hmm. So, I opted for the discussion.
Have you had your discussion yet?
No.
Okay.
I got a note from somebody named Peyton who said that somebody in senior management, and and that either has to be Rob or Kurt probably,
Right.
would call me for a discussion. And so they've outlined in the scholarship what words can't be in the scholarship
Right.
because of some law some racist law that the legislature passed, and because of what's going on in Washington.
Yeah,
So,
it's all a part of this attack on DEI, and
right.
several Auburn alums have raised concern about that. They got those same letters, and are very upset, saying, there's already the black enrollment at Auburn is on the decline.
Right.
They are now saying we can't include the language you had in your scholarship, and so basically they're not going to be able to do that anymore. And alums are saying they want their money back in some cases, because the university was giving them the option of saying, we can't use this language. We can just change it and give the scholarship to whoever we want to.
Right.
Or
which is what they've been doing anyway.
Anyway, they've been doing that anyway. Yes, exactly.
So that's it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It is. Yes, it is.
And it's not even one step forward and two steps back. It's like 6 steps back and nothing forward.
Right.
And I don't know. It's disappointing.
Let me. That's interesting. I'm just wondering about this. These funds are private donations,
right?
And come. So, what to keep you guys from bypassing the university and just give it straight to the students?
You can.
I think you can do that privately.
You can do that privately,
and
then you don't have the tax write-off because you're not giving it to a nonprofit organization to direct the money. But there are there are ways to do that too.
UNCL, create your own nonprofit.
Right. Yeah. There's the Warrior Society has a 501c3. United Negro College Fund, they can give money to students at any university. It doesn't have to be historically black college or university. So there are ways to direct those funds, and it goes to
black students. Interested to see what the conversation is. I would
love to know too, Thom.
I'm interested in seeing what the conversation is, and I have some thoughts on it, but I don't want to say them on this.
Sure.
Right.
You guys.
It would just be interesting to see what words they substitute for
exactly
those words, and what kind of meaning those words would have.
Yeah.
Or in the context of this. You know what I'm saying?
And we have
go ahead, Barb.
Have a student at Auburn, black student, who reached out to several of us alums a couple of weeks ago, who is a senior at Auburn. She is in her last year trying to finish up. She got limited financial aid for the fall semester, but she's $5,000 short on her bill. They won't let her register for spring until she pays that debt off, which she has to pay by November 30th. And she's saying she's gone to the university. They said they have emergency funds available, but she doesn't qualify. But it's not financial that she doesn't qualify for. It's really strange. So it's like she can't. The university is saying they can't help her. So she'll either have to drop out if she can't come up with this money and wait until she gets the money, or some of us alums are trying to help her raise them funds so she can. She has the money for spring. She just doesn't have enough to pay the fall bill. And her parents can help her. They're in having some financial situations right now that they're dealing with. And so, it's sad that kids get there, they work hard, grades are great, they can't get the funds they need to finish school.
Wow. Well, I just think it's sad. And it's, they got all this mess they raise about DEI. Look at the people who are running the country, man.
Right.
Jesus. You want to talk about some people who ain't got a clue, who doesn't know what they're doing or what have you. And I don't know. It's just sad. So I look forward. I'm looking forward to that conversation. And when
You'll have to
I just
definitely tell
flipped
us
through
all
my
about it,
phone,
Tom.
huh?
You'll have to tell us all about that conversation. I can't wait.
Well, I can tell you this: who I directed the scholarships to hadn't been going to them anyway. It's been going to different.
Right.
So I don't know. I can't figure out what the issue is. So you don't want these people on this side of the aisle to get anything,
Right.
you know. Um, and I don't know. I just know there's some people who've been at the university forever. Yeah, I get upset.
Yeah.
Um, their children have been to the university free.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they went to school there. They worked there, and as far as
And
I'm
their
Have
concerned,
children,
contracts there, get business there.
some of their children are working there now.
right,
Yeah.
right,
And they didn't necessarily earn those positions. So
right,
yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Or the kids start a business and go get contracts there.
right.
Right. Right. Yep.
So anyway, it's I don't know. It's sad.
It
It's sad.
is.
I think I told you guys when I visited Illinois State, which is Joyce's alma mater. It was just totally different, totally different. Um, and as you just said, Barbara, the numbers of African American students have just dwindled.
Yes.
And this year, I think out of Kenneth told me this number, and I may be wrong, but I'm just going to take a stab at it. That 6,000 new students came in, I guess, as freshmen,
Mm-hmm.
and there were 160 blacks,
Yeah.
and
I wouldn't be surprised.
that includes athletes.
Athletes. They were just sad.
So that means you figure that's the whole football team, the
Basketball,
basketball team,
track.
and then maybe there were maybe 30 blacks that were admitted to the campus or what have you. So,
That's a shame.
yeah, it's sad.
And they keep saying that they don't want to make exceptions to let blacks in. I know qualified black students were not
Exactly.
getting in. They're going to Harvard and Howard and
And they go to the
Georgia and
University of
Alabama,
Alabama.
Alabama,
University of Alabama
all
welcomes them.
these other schools, and Auburn turns them down.
Yeah.
And so many of our own alums whose children and grandchildren are not getting accepted into Auburn, who they've been grooming them to say War Eagle since birth. And so, these is I'm like you, I get upset when I start talking about it.
Yeah. Well, let's just move on. I like doing the roundtables. The time goes so fast, and
Yes.
I'm sorry that Sean wasn't able to be on today. We always enjoy her got a minute, so we'll certainly be on next week. So, you guys got any final comments? It's where
Well,
we go.
one thing is,
I
I saw a question in the chat about can you have a scholarship for persons with disabilities? And as far as Auburn, Tom, maybe you would have to speak to that, or Barbara. I'm not sure, but I know that there are some support and grants and stuff available for people with disabilities, especially if they're veterans or what have you, or have been declared disabled through Social Security. But you guys maybe want to speak to that.
As far
Barbara?
as I know of, they have made no changes for people with disabilities. They can still have scholarships related to that. Is other diversity issues that they have concerns with. So
Just them pesky black folks
yeah, the
that
pesky
want to
black
go
folks.
to their university.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh Lord!
But
And they
I
don't
just want
play.
to
And
I
it's
want to say
and it's black folks that don't play basketball and they don't
football,
play football.
right?
Why would we let them in?
Yeah.
Oh boy!
I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday weekend. And War Eagle, Iron Bowl coming up Saturday. Be pulling for our Tigers to win.
Well, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody and stuff. Do you guys feel like the more that we mature, that Thanksgiving holidays and Christmas kind of means a little bit more because you think about,
Absolutely.
Sure.
growing up and childhood and stuff? Are you guys feeling that way?
Oh yes, most definitely.
Yeah, I love the holidays.
I do
I
too. It's my
great.
Yeah,
favorite time of the year right now.
You
yeah,
get
yeah. It
to
always seems to give you a little hope and maybe uplift you just a little bit,
I
even if
agree.
you are kind of down,
Especially when you're dealing with crap like we just talked about. So
Exactly.
it does. It does. It says, hey, it's time to. We're moving forward, and it's. I look forward to you get to spend time with people that maybe you hadn't had time during the year, and
Right. Right.
sit
And
and
Tom,
talk with them.
you touched on it a little bit earlier about the James Owen Foundation and the scholarship breakfast where we honor the Trailblazers. Uh, we had that this past Saturday. I started the holiday off uh, engaging with some of our alums that I haven't seen in many, many years. Laura Hughes and Melvin Jackson and Lawana Faye Todd, Missy Jackson, um, Myra Harper, Gwen Richardson, Yolanda Boulware, all of my friends. And so we had a marvelous time. Judge Pat Stevens, who's going to be a guest on our show in the coming year, was there as well. So great time.
And I want to say something about the Owens Foundation and the fact that the people come back. That was a I don't want to a special group is not really the right words, but there were a group of people who were there in their 70s who were and still are committed to the university, who who gave a lot of themselves to the university,
Yes.
and not and these people didn't necessarily play sports. Uh, they were just there because they wanted to be an integral part of the university. And
Yes.
then you had the people who played sports like James and Henry. And I was looking at reading some stuff, Henry stuff the other day. Henry Harris, who was the first African American athlete at Auburn, and they asked him why he went. And Henry was from Bolaji. He was from the Black Belt area, and there were a lot of people in his little town that were pulling for him to go to Auburn and become a success. And his quote was, "I did it for the old folks,"
Yeah.
and that was the feeling that most of us had who were there. We were
Yes.
doing this for others,
Right.
for people who weren't able to do it, and for kids who would come along one day. And so to get into a tussle over a word, diversity, in a scholarship is really sad to me,
It
uh,
is.
because I know what these individuals gave to that university,
Right.
and and what it meant to them. And as you just said, the Owens Foundation thing, to go and see people who were there with you in the 70s, throughout the 70s, from the
Right.
beginning 70s through the end of the 70s. Just it means a lot, but it's also very, very sad,
Yes,
uh,
it is.
especially when you have people whose kids are going because they went,
Mm-hmm.
and who, as you said, not only did they go, their kids got to go, and so on and so forth for free,
For free.
and
Mm-hmm.
so it's just sad. It's sad.
Yes,
It
it
really
is.
is. So, anything else?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. The
Have a
Auburn
great.
Tigers will take on Michigan this evening
Oh,
and
that's
on
right.
TNT.
Basketball
They
game last night. We beat Oregon last night.
Yes, they did. So we'll see how they play. They're small. They're a little small and stuff because Michigan is big. They got some big
Mhm.
boys. But anyway, we'll see how they do.
Okay. All right. Well, have a great Thanksgiving weekend, And, kind of like once you get into Thanksgiving, Christmas is just around the
It's here.
corner. So
Yes.
it's just a wonderful time of the year. And we'll look
Yes.
forward to it. I'm glad you told me about the other scholarships, Barbara, and the other people who have elected to have conversations as well,
Hmm.
because I just think it's the more, the better.
Yes.
Anyway, anything else? So that's the show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank all the people in the chat. You guys, Becky, Anthony, Antley, Barbara, Nathaniel, Loretta, Sherilyn. We wish all you guys, William Wallace. We wish all you guys a happy, happy, happy Thanksgiving, and appreciate you being with us this morning. So, thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Mychal, and Joyce. And as always, special thanks to the audience. And that's it for this November 25th in the year of 2025. Happy Thanksgiving week. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Blessings and peace.